Hello, welcome to our weekly live show. I hope you are having a fantastic start to your month. This is the first Monday of June. As we approach this second half of 2024, it's crazy to believe how quickly this year is just flying by. And I want to come in here and just talk about the importance of sales and communication skills for musicians, because for the longest time, I have seen musicians fail at growing their business strategically simply because they lack the right communication skills, not because they're not good at what they do, not because they don't have enough value in what they do, but just because their ability to convey effectively the value of their offer falls short because they don't recognize that, just like music, sales is a craft, a skill, and something that deserves the same level of attention and perfectionism as we approach our musical journey. So, say hello in the comments if you are watching me live. I'd love to hear from you and see who is here, who is joining me. I am doing a multiple live stream broadcast, so I'm not sure. I'm hoping this is working and everyone is seeing everything okay. But let me know if you have found yourself challenged by being effective at communicating what you do. If you perhaps have seen that people are not responding to your content, that people are not responding to your offers, that you're putting things out there and people are not saying anything, and you're thinking, well, maybe there isn't enough demand. Maybe people don't like what I do. Maybe people don't realize, the value of what I do, and maybe people don't want what I have to offer, right? And so that is exactly where I'm coming in here today, because I want you to feel, number one, empowered, that if you have been struggling to get people to say yes to you, it's not that they don't want you, it's not that they don't value you, it's simply that you haven't yet communicated the value of what your program, what your offer, what your services can actually do for your audience. So if you have any questions, this is a live broadcast. So I would love to use this as a conversation starter, if you will, for us to have a two-way exchange around sales, questions around sales. I'll be looking through the chat, and just feel free to jot them down and I'll do my best to answer as we go. And by the way, if you watch this later as a replay, do not worry. Feel free to continue posting any questions and I'll be happy to chime in and share with you why I'm so passionate about communication and influence and sales, and just being good at conveying the value of what you do so that you can ultimately extend your work into the hands and the minds of your clients, right? That's how you're ultimately going to be able to make a bigger impact. If you can not only have something to offer, but most importantly, if you are making sure that your gifts and your expertise is properly being utilized by your ideal clients. So let's talk about the first roadblock that I have found stops many musicians from successfully communicating the value of what they do, and doing it in a way that impacts their ideal clients. The first one is a big hesitation and fear around what people will think, and whether they're going to reject you, and whether they're going to feel disappointed that you're selling. And let me know if you felt that perhaps tension and dissonance in your own life, in your own journey building your business. If you felt prospects around what you do, if you felt maybe torn around the potential of talking to people and saying, hey, I could help you, here's how, and you felt like, no, I don't want to tell this, I don't want to share this with people because I don't want to feel rejected. And why is this important? Because when you can address what stops you from being effective at communicating and impacting people, and actually having service-based, soul-aligned, values-based conversations, and you can say, well, perhaps I'm just afraid of the rejection. Perhaps I'm afraid of people saying no. And what if we can dive into that for a minute? What if we can say, well, here's the thing. The only thing that you're going to have when people say no to you is information. I like to call it data, right? Because when people say no to whatever you're offering, that will allow you to assess how you can get better at communicating the value. Because ultimately, the way people value your work is up to you. It's not up to people. Like, if you develop the ability to communicate the value of what you do, and you commit to being good at it, and you approach communication skills, sales, with the same degree of perfectionism that you approached your musical craft, then eventually you will command, you will understand, you will develop mastery over this process, just like you have in your instrument. But it cannot happen if you're afraid of other people rejecting you or what other people are going to think, right? And so one of the hacks that I've used to help musicians really change that limiting belief, if you will, is focusing on how much do you care about the problem that your clients have right now that is not getting solved because you're not able to work with them. Can you focus more on committing to solving the problems that your clients have, and knowing that every conversation that you have will be a stepping stone for you to ultimately be able to stand in a place of authority and to be able to say, here's how I can help you fix this problem. Imagine that you're walking in a desert and people are just walking by you and they're super thirsty, and you've got this canister of fresh spring cold water, and you have it in you, and you know people are walking by you and they're thirsty. Would you have any problem saying, I've got some water here, I have limited supplies, who wants some, right? No, because you know it's going to help people. Well, in the same way, I want to encourage you to maybe change your perhaps hesitations or perspectives around feeling icky around sales and communication, and saying, no, you have a duty to become good at this. You have a moral obligation to communicate the value of what you do so that your audience, your potential clients, the people who really need you, can benefit from you. Otherwise, they're going to stay stuck. And so if any thoughts of ickiness or resistance come your way around developing mastery and communication and influence and sales and leadership, really, I like to think of sales as leadership, because when you're clear around how you can help someone and you communicate that effectively, ultimately you're leading them into a better life, right? Whether it's around developing musicianship skills, whether it's around developing their career, whether it's developing mastery on stage, overcoming performance anxiety, whatever it is you help them do. When you become good at communicating the value, people will win, and so will you. It's a win-win, right? So it's really tackling that initial limiting belief. Can you get over that? And can you focus more on wanting to help your ideal clients get results? And know that if they don't say yes to you, they're going to stay stuck. And so that desire, that willingness to say, I want to serve, I want to help people, should be the first force that allows you to switch out of that perhaps hesitation that is holding you back, right? Number two, the other thing you want to focus on when you're trying to improve your sales ability, and helping yourself track, your opportunities in your business, is understanding what is the journey that your clients need to go through. From the minute they come into your world, they start learning about you. They perhaps download a resource or an ebook or a video, or read a blog episode, or listen to a podcast, maybe a live stream that you did. What is the journey that you want to take them through in order for them to understand the value of what your work is about? So that by the time you're having sales conversations, you're not having to explain everything from scratch. You're not having to say, well, here's who I am, here's how I can help you, because that is too late. The best way to have aligned, enjoyable sales conversations, enrollment conversations, is when people already know about you and have built that awareness and education and trust around what you do and who you are, right? So if you're finding yourself having conversations with people where you're having to explain everything about who you do, that's probably why you're not being able to effectively enroll people, because you're not setting up the pre-frame, the marketing content that will educate your potential clients on what is it that you do and the value that you provide. So that's one of the things that you're going to make sure you want to focus on, because if you have a good content ecosystem, think of it as a beautiful coral reef, if you will, that shows people what you do in advance of them actually talking to you, then the conversations are just basically about personalization and really figuring out the ins and outs of how you can help this person. But that person already knows about you. They understand what you do. You don't have to kind of sell yourself, if you will, in that way, right? You shouldn't. Conversations, by the time you're talking to people, they should know about you. So that's the second step. Now, there are many ways you can go about that. And one of the things that you want to make sure you have is a system of creating content where you have a clear brand, you have a clear message where you can communicate with people, what you can do. And actually, we're going to be presenting a training in a few weeks that is going to give you a lot more like resources on how to do this. But in the meantime, I'm going to drop a link where you can download a free resource that I've created that's called Sales Training for Musicians. And it will give you even more insights into how you can build this with the right strategy and continue deepening this like process that I'm laying out for you today, really around developing that mastery around sales conversation and influence. So I think this is going to be a continued conversation. This is not going to be the last time that I come in here. I have still a few more things to talk about today, but truly, I believe that when we realize that we can actually build businesses that are in alignment with our values and that we can develop the right communication skills, people will be more likely to say yes, because you've created these things from the right perspective. So let me just put the right link in here. Let me see. Hold on. Here we go. There you go. Okay, this is the right link. So in this link, you'll be able to grab it while we're watching live. Go ahead and download it so that you can continue like this conversation with me, and I can answer any questions as we're going. You're gonna love it because in this training, I'm walking you through just the key things to think about when you're having sales conversations, and then it has a workbook that you can take it step by step and just brainstorm and just fill it out as you go. And it'll give you some opportunity for you to reflect on the knowledge as well versus just consume it passively. When you integrate the knowledge by writing it down and by applying and answering questions about the training, immediately you retain a lot more of the information and you're more likely to actually get the results and the benefits of the information. So remember, knowledge is not power, it's just the potential of power. It's what you do with the knowledge that counts. So as we continue this talk today about sales training and improving your communication skills, make sure you download this resource, fabianaclaire.com/sales training. Now, let's keep going. So number 2, make sure that you create the right content so that people can understand about what you do before getting on a call with you. And the third thing you want to do is really understand when it comes to having conversations with your potential clients, how can you identify what is the main reason that they're stuck? Most of the times when people come to you, they're going to describe a specific problem, right? Typically, the traditional structure of a conversation is about identifying what is the gap between where they are to where they need to be, and how can you help them, if at all, right? You may be able to help people, you may not be able to help people. It's not for everyone, but your goal in an effective conversation, the basic structure is just to determine what is the gap. How could you take your ideal client from where they are, where they're struggling, where they're trying to overcome things, to the next stage of their business where they're actually going to achieve what they need. But in order to do this effectively, there's several things you need to keep in mind so that you're not just wasting opportunities to understand truly what you can do for your potential clients. And by the way, one of the things that I love about having enrollment conversation, sales conversation, is that you win no matter what happens, meaning the ultimate goal is not just to enroll someone in your offer, to have someone become a client. It's also to get information and to understand your client's journey and their problems and what they're trying to achieve and what you can do to better strengthen your own marketing, your communication, and even your offers, if you will. When you commit to really approaching these conversations without any attachment to an outcome, right? Without an expectation, without a need for your client to say yes, but instead you're sharing with your audience, here's how I can help you. This is what I can do for you. And whether or not they say yes or not, like you already have information that can serve as ideas for you to create content, for you to create resources, for you to even improve and strengthen your offers. I mean, it is a win-win no matter how you look at it, right? So this is what you're going to want to think about as you approach these conversations. Like the ultimate goal is not just to make a sale. It's to grow and to learn and to see how you can better understand your ideal clients and be of service at the end of the day, right? So let me know as I'm going through this. If you have any questions about this as I'm going through, I know I'm going through a lot. I'm happy to see your questions and just comment as I'm going through. You've got me live here with you, so this is the moment. So the third part is then when you go into really understanding the gap, right, and trying to figure out, okay, how can you assess the need for your client to take that next step and be able to describe what will that journey look like? Not only what is the gap, but also what is the solution going to consist of? But it's important that you describe it in a way that matters to your clients. You see, you as a subject matter expert, you may know a lot about what your clients need to fix their problem, whether that's around developing their musical skills, whether that's around developing their ability to command on stage, to overcome stage fright, memory lapses, whether it's about maybe recovery from a performance-related injury, whatever it is that you help your clients do as a musician entrepreneur, your goal is to assess how you can help them. But you have to remember that your clients are going to come to you with an initial perspective around what they need. And they're going to think they're going to need something. And you're going to know, chances are there's 2 or 3 levels deeper than what they see that is actually the real problem. So part of your job as an effective communicator to really do justice to your talent, to your art, to your business, is to be able to describe properly to your clients, what do you diagnose as the true cause of the problem, right? How can you determine and explain in a way that illustrates and that informs your potential clients that perhaps what they've been trying to do is not the right thing. And instead, you have a better solution. So that's the first thing, is like, can you identify what's the real problem, if you will, the problem behind the problem, right? And number two is, can you then go and describe how will the solution that you propose not only solve the problem in an immediate way, if in a transactional way, if you will, but most importantly, how will the solution offer this client a life changing experience that will impact other areas of their life? In which way will the solution change the game for your potential clients? Will it perhaps get them to win back their time in a way that they couldn't before? Will it perhaps give them more freedom of expression, of creativity? Will it perhaps give them a better sense of meaning and connection with their community, with their peers? What is the more intangible and truly meaningful impact of your work that you can communicate to your potential clients in these conversations, so that when they're coming into your world, they can see that it's not just about fixing the thing, but there's something bigger behind that, right? Oh my gosh, there's so much that we can talk about. I'm already seeing I'm like over 15 minutes here. But here's why I want you to go to fabianaclaire.com/sales training, because in this training, I'm going a lot deeper into all of this, and I'm giving you actual prompts and exercises for you to fill this out yourself. So make sure that you check that out, and that you look at how you can access this directly in your business and apply these skills. When you commit to becoming good at communication, sales, influence, and leadership, then everything you've built as a musician will actually now make a difference, will be meaningful, will be impactful, and will be able to reach the lives of your clients, because you're being an effective communicator. We know you're good at what you do. We know you've worked all your life at becoming great in your craft as an artist, as a musician, creative entrepreneur. Now it's time for you to commit to doing it justice by learning how to sell effectively from a place of integrity, from a place of service, and from a place of true authenticity. Why? Because you care, because you want to make an impact, and because you know that unless you commit to improving your sales and communication skills, you will always be struggling with what you want to build in your life. And I don't want that for you. I'm here to help elevate the lives of musicians and creatives around the world, and to empower you to grow and to be able to create soul aligned, prosperous music business, because you take ownership of your life. You take ownership of the results that you have, and you commit to say, I'm going to change my current situation. I don't have to just, feel defeated or feel victim of society, of the economy, of inflation, of politics, of you name it. No, you can take a stand. You can take ownership of your life when you say, I'm going to look for ways that I can sharpen my skills and improve. So this is the first step. Go to fabianaclaire.com/sales training. I look forward to having you access this completely free resource, reaching out to me and my team if you have any questions. We're here to support you. Thank you for watching. Let me know where your takeaways are from today's training. I'd love to hear from you. And of course, what else would you like for me to talk about in our next weekly live show? Until then, thank you for joining me, and let's prosper together.